Holographic woman flickered into view as a dark-haired man questioned if their shared language was the result of technology. An advanced holographic AI calmly explained her role in managing the network server of Base 1359. In this moment, the holographic figure bowed to the young man, who curiously inquired about the latest news from that advanced era. Girl with a headset focused as her network connection had failed, but succeeded with Base 1359's civilian database. Holographic book projected screens and a serene blonde woman floating above it. Montage details key events. Sun rises to rank 10-star Elm, marking him as the 472nd powerhouse in the World Martial Alliance's history. Mysterious and powerful hood figure conjured a glowing aura, while a dark-haired boy in awe contemplated the heights of martial arts in this world. Meanwhile, Sheng examined the glowing book, wondering about its mysterious light. Massive beast burst through a shattered rift, unleashing a swarm of aggressive creatures onto the chaotic scene. At that point, the green-haired man stood determined, observing the intense battle with the dragon on the glowing screen. And after the blue-eyed character, amazed, realized the world's martial arts and technology had reached unimaginable heights. The next beat, the zombie-like figure loomed menacingly over the ruined city, recalling how even powerful defenders failed against the monstrous threat. Its exploration teams searched for a new planet. A contemplative observer focused on the space data displayed on the screen. Moments later, Sheng stood thoughtfully before a control panel, observing as a spaceship hovered forebodingly over the planet. After tense silence, Sheng examined the holographic display, realizing they couldn't escape their destined destruction. With visible resolve, Sheng observed the holographic figure, who expressed appreciation for the once magnificent civilization now lost. In response, Sheng, seated on the sofa, asked to display this world's history through the glowing holographic figure. As events escalated, the holographic woman retrieved the world's history as the dark-haired man watched intently. In this moment, Sheng interacted with the digital interface, reflecting on the fallen civilization's lessons to avoid a similar fate. Meanwhile, the hand interacted with the digital timeline, revealing how chasms appeared and martial artists emerged in the world. At that point, Sheng stared at the glowing screen, realizing it displayed the history of their world. And after, Sheng realized he was witnessing the future devastation of their world 10,000 years later. In the next beat, Sheng realized they might not be the same, pondering the implications of this new thought. Moments later, Sheng questioned the glowing figure about the possibility of parallel universes and sought information on specific individuals. After tense silence, the young man was captivated as glowing digital screens displayed 36 results for Sheng. With visible resolve, Sheng was shocked as he examined his digital profile, realizing he only lived to 28 and was just a civilian. In response, Sheng requested information about Sheng, but the holographic girl accessed due to insufficient permissions for martial arts data. As events escalated, the woman faced the screen as the system her access, demanding a genetic blood sample for registration. In this moment, Sheng, curious, questioned the holographic figure about how to submit a blood sample for registration. The blue-skinned woman fiercely bit into someone's leg, concentrating intensely. Meanwhile, the flustered young man shouted in surprise as the mysterious female figure pulled away from him. At that point, the woman, focused and deliberate, approached the red gem on her arm with her tongue. And after, the curious and blushing dark-haired boy observed the virtual woman, wondering how such analysis was conducted in the future. In the next beat, the girl gasped in shock, covering her mouth at the unexpected revelation. Moments later, the surprised young man with dark hair noticed a holographic woman appearing before him. After tense silence, the green-eyed woman initiated project, surrounding herself and the dark-haired man in fiery energy circles. With visible resolve, the inquisitive young man with dark hair wondered aloud about, questioning its connection to abandoning Earth for a new home planet. His attention shifted to the holographic display, puzzled by the unfamiliar profile picture staring back at him. In response, Sheng examined the glowing red screen, wondering aloud if the future had changed and mentioning his top grades at school. As events escalated, Sheng reflected on his achievements while approaching the martial arts university entrance. In this moment, Sheng was astonished, realizing the future might have changed after he grew stronger. Meanwhile, Sheng examined holographic screens, noting his life's trajectory and a record of his strength served before the college entrance exams. At that point, Sheng contemplated how his achievements seemed insignificant against the weight of history. And after, Sheng stood on a glowing platform, reflecting on how his progress matched expectations with his current training and resources. In the next beat, Sheng analyzed the flowing data, confident that his dreamworld gains would ensure surpassing previous results. Moments later, Sheng stood confidently above the crowd, questioning why he was only ranked 23rd in the city when he aspired for national recognition. After tense silence, the young man stood resolute before glowing symbols, contemplating how his future would surely amount to more. With visible resolve, the dark-haired figure vowed to avert humanity's destruction by growing stronger. In response, Sheng vowed to turn things around and save everyone from the looming threats. A bold and defiant silhouette raised its arms, declaring it would ignite a transformative blaze in humanity. A tall urban building stood silhouetted against a clear blue sky, offering a moment of peace amidst the chaos. As events escalated, Sheng stood calmly by the chair, observing the woman eating while another woman prepared to serve food. A concerned woman questioned Sheng about not wearing his school uniform at the breakfast table. In this moment, Sheng mentioned his teacher allowed him to study at home, freeing him from attending school. Meanwhile, the curious woman expressed surprise at the self-study option, while the inquisitive girl wondered why she'd never heard of it before. The blue-hooded figure stood up from the table, feeling satisfied after the meal. At that point, the motivated boy announced he would return to his room to train, while the supportive girl encouraged his enthusiasm. Soon after, the observant girl noted how the mysterious boy seemed to change daily, becoming darker and more enigmatic. The next beat, Sheng enters a room as the phone rings insistently on the table. Moments later, Sheng calmly greeted teacher while talking on his phone. After tense silence, Sheng, determined to make the most of his time, spoke to teacher about collecting his scholarship money and expressed urgency about his schedule. With visible resolve, Sheng meditates with intense energy, expressing a desire to showcase his strength and surprise everyone around him. Response: the lone climber stood resolute, determined to reach the peak quickly to change the future. As events escalated, Sheng pointed at the glowing, triangular object with determination. In this moment, Sheng requested to show cultivation methods suitable for rank 1 martial artists. Meanwhile, the woman focused intently as she navigated the holographic interface, while the dark-haired man observed the results with curiosity. At that point, Sheng examined the ancient techniques, noting their origins from the World Martial Alliance and their inclusion in Project. The young man discovered the legendary legacies of rank 11 powerhouses, realizing their immense value and incorporation in Project. And after the determined dark-haired boy concentrated deeply, channeling energy as he envisioned each cell transforming into a star with boundless power. The glowing figure released radiant energy, transforming the scene into a certain galaxy with boundless power. The next beat, the brown-haired young man marveled at the stellar body, refining technique's incredible power, feeling it far surpassed anything he had practiced before. Moments later, Sheng examined floating screens and demonstrated the fire-breathing technique with focus. Under tense silence, Sheng stood confidently amidst the flames, exuding a sense of triumph and determination. With visible resolve, the young man with flaming eyes opened them, feeling a surge of determination. In response, Sheng discovered the fire-breathing technique, feeling countless flames burning within him and marveling at the potential of other elements. As events escalated, Sheng stood focused, practicing the crystal visualization technique as glowing books floated before him. The dark-haired man kneels before a glowing red screen, focusing intently on mastering the spiritual power of martial arts cultivation. In this moment, the young man, surrounded by blue ethereal energy, mused about cultivating spiritual power and decided to give it a try. Meanwhile, the blue-haired figure wondered aloud if they were inside confronting the crouched figure floating beside them. At that point, the glowing, mysterious figure approaches the enigmatic giant with determination. Soon after, the blue-glowing young man reached towards the meditating figure, contemplating the importance of spiritual power in martial arts cultivation. The small, glowing figure smacked the thoughtful giant on the head, wondering how to practice while expressing confusion. The next beat, the blue-haired figure stood pensive, realizing they'd need to unravel the mystery of the ghostly face slowly. The dark-haired person opened their eyes, feeling utterly exhausted. Moments later, Sheng sat on the floor, breathing heavily, reflecting on how this exhaustion felt different from his dreams. Under tense silence, Sheng inspected his sweat, feeling disgusted as he questioned its source. With visible resolve, Sheng realized that training in them was enhancing his physical abilities, feeling great about the discovery. In response, Sheng prepared to shower, amazed at how his body's purification seemed unbelievable due to his training techniques. As events escalated, Sheng confidently announced his cultivation was advancing rapidly, and soon he would use scholarship money to refine tonics and elixirs. In this moment, Sheng felt hopeful, as he realized the future elixir recipes could greatly enhance his abilities and alter the world's pharmaceutical path. Meanwhile, the purple-haired girl runs joyfully alongside the focused dark-haired boy. At that point, Sheng, slightly frustrated, handed a school ID card to someone, mentioning they should inform him next time they skip school. And after, Sheng handed a card, acknowledging teacher's understanding, while apologizing for any inconvenience. In the next beat, the supportive authority figure advised the obedient student to handle his responsibilities and attend school weekly, and the student agreed respectfully. Moments later, Sheng observed the boy with a blue aura leaving, puzzled by how quickly things had changed in just 2 days. Under tense silence, Sheng walked down the sidewalk, lost in his own thoughts alongside 3 others. With visible resolve, Sheng planned his vitality treatment, confident that his future prescriptions would make his self-made tonics most effective. In response, Sheng examined the glowing screen, contemplating which medicinal prescriptions would best enhance his strength and vitality. As events escalated, the young man considered the need for professional equipment to ensure his medicinal prescriptions would be effective. In this moment, Sheng considered renting equipment from the medicinal hall, since buying a whole suite was impractical with his limited funds. Meanwhile, the bearded man, guarded and defensive, questioned an unseen character about the idea of renting their critical alchemical lab. At that point, Sheng was sent flying by a powerful force as he refused to back down. And after, Sheng sighed, realizing that finding a feasible plan was trickier than he anticipated. The next beat, Sheng examined the ingredients, noting he had enough to make several batches of the strengthening decoction. Moments later, Sheng examined the card, realizing teacher had given him not 30,000, but a surprising 80,000 as a personal sponsorship. After tense silence, Sheng resolved to buy equipment online as he exited the industrial alleyway. With visible resolve, Sheng cautiously emerged from the alley, wondering what had caught his attention. In response, the young man, curious, noted the presence of a medicinal hall in such a remote corner as he observed the Shan building. As events escalated, the expectant and curious blue jacket boy entered the shop, greeted by a calm shopkeeper who reminded him about submitting his position application after 3 years. In this moment, the blonde young man curiously checked his phone, wondering what had caught his attention. The black-haired customer approached the counter, asking something, while the indifferent shopkeeper instructed him to find what he wanted and then pay. Meanwhile, the wary, attentive blonde cashier warned the unseen customer not to run without paying, noting the security cameras watching everything. At that point, the blue-eyed boy analyzed noting their indifference and contrasting it with the more attentive ones he had encountered before. Then after, the haired boy was shocked as a tall figure ominously covered the phone screen he was showing. In the next beat, the blonde teen angrily shouted at the black-haired boy, demanding to know what was happening. Moments later, Sheng stood calmly, intimidating the frightened blonde-haired boy who looked up in shock. After tense silence, the boy behind the counter nervously confronted the stranger, demanding to know his intentions. With visible resolve, the dark-haired figure leaned over the counter, asking about an alchemical lab, while the figure defensively questioned his intentions. In response, the confident young man proposed a business deal, gesturing toward the table with a smile. As events escalated, the determined black-haired student approached the stern blonde guard in the bright hallway. The short-haired person defensively blocked a hand, attempting to reach the valve. At this moment, the blonde figure explained the deal, allowing only 3 hours for use at 500 per hour. Meanwhile, Sheng smirked while holding up a bank card, acknowledging the need for upfront payment. At that point, the boy cheerfully welcomed the serious and focused dark-haired boy into the lab, inviting him to make himself at home. Soon after, the lab worker announced the start of their first tonic-making attempt. The next beat, the methodical and focused scientist explained the procedure for processing a mutant lizard and moonstone into a precise medicinal mixture. Moments later, the focused dark-haired scientist processed the ingredients and explained the potion's procedure with precision and intent. After tense silence, the young scientist victoriously announced his success in creating the decoction, marveling that it was a tonic from 10,000 years in the future. With visible resolve, Sheng examined the test tube, pondering if the experiment was truly successful and deciding he must test it himself. In response, Sheng drank the pink liquid, wondering if his experiment had failed since it tasted like nothing. As events escalated, Sheng contemplated intensely, his worried expression reflecting the tension in the air. A young man with dark hair crashes through a window, screaming in panic. In this moment, Sheng lay exhausted on the floor, breathing heavily amidst shattered glass. The dark-haired man in a lab coat marveled at the unexpected results, noting how his vitality had not only been restored but enhanced. Meanwhile, Sheng crouched on the floor, amazed at how potent force strengthened his vitality without causing harm. At that point, Sheng leaned forward in surprise as the metal door began to open. Soon after, Sheng peeked through the door, interrupting the hair boy who was annoyed by the intrusion. In urgent tones, the blonde man pushed the dark-haired person towards the exit, insisting they leave quickly before the boss arrived. A confident and poised woman stepped out of the car, her high heels clicking on the pavement. In the next beat, the confident woman with short hair walked forward, holding a syringe with purpose. Moments later, the woman stood in the laboratory, adjusting her lab coat with a determined focus. Under tense silence, the young woman focused intently as she held a box filled with colorful test tubes and lab equipment. With visible resolve, the determined woman drank the green liquid, frustrated by its poor medicinal effects, while a martial artist on TV urged viewers to persevere. In response, the gray-haired person reflected silently, contemplating the laboratory items while a TV ad about dragon-like testosterone pills played in the background. As events escalated, the pink-eyed woman seriously discussed the rapid evolution of pharmaceutical practices due to advancements in martial arts. A thoughtful hand reached for the damaged family photograph, while reflecting on how their family had declined due to conservative habits. At this moment, the dark-haired woman expressed frustration about outdated remedies, concerned about losing the family business's competitive edge without new medicinal prescriptions. Meanwhile, the figure in a white coat resolved to collaborate with alchemical masters, aiming to secure Mistress' new medicinal prescription for the family's revival. At that point, the surprised shopkeeper questioned Missy about her unexpected presence, wondering why she wasn't in the neighboring city as planned. Soon after, the dark-haired woman revealed herself, while the man admired her, proclaiming her as goddess and vowing to protect her unwaveringly. In the next beat, the blonde-haired boy woke with a start as Missy shouted his name, leaving him surprised and startled. Moments later, the dark-haired girl angrily confronted the man, demanding an explanation for her dirty clothes and questioning if he brought someone into her lab. After tense silence, the flustered and admiring boy stammered, denying any wrongdoing as he admired the furious and intimidating girl. As he, frustrated and dismissive, told the unseen person not to come in tomorrow, despite their attempt to explain. The unseen person, expressing anger, threw the overpowered figure into a black bag, calling them an idiot and voicing their frustration. Lab worker furiously cleaned the table, muttering about having to wash and disinfect everything again after someone used their activator and laser controller. Dark-haired woman examined the glowing tank, puzzled by the unusual preparation of the mutant green-scaled lizard without its valuable scales. With visible resolve, the dark-haired woman chuckled, amused at the thought of someone dreaming of developing medicinal prescriptions without the necessary resources or knowledge. In response, the dark-haired woman stood in the laboratory, pondering if placing hopes on unrealistic dreams was indeed what she was doing now. As events escalated, the dark-haired woman noticed broken equipment, muttering about how someone had intruded into her alchemical lab and caused more damage than expected. At this moment, the dark-haired woman examined the glowing test tube, intrigued by the unusual combination of condensed moonstone and tuna tree root. Meanwhile, the dark-haired girl examined the vial, wondering aloud about the uniqueness of the medicinal prescription. At that point, the thoughtful woman rubbed her lips, lost in her own pensive contemplation. And after, the dark-haired girl exclaimed in shock and confusion, struggling to comprehend the strange sight before her. The weary traveler sighed, blaming a certain man for his current predicament. The next beat, the young man with a backpack lamented desperately, pleading to see his goddess once more as he faced his fate on the city street. Moments later, the dark-haired girl ran energetically towards the surprised character. The determined woman shouted urgently, telling Ma not to go and to stop immediately. After tense silence, the boy passionately declared his eternal commitment to Missy, insisting that his place was always by her side. With visible resolve, the dark-haired woman furiously demanded to know who had used her alchemical lab, confronting the shocked man. In response, the dark-haired woman furiously grabbed the man's collar, insisting he find someone and promising to double his pay if he succeeds. As events escalated, the distressed-haired character clutched a vibrating phone, urgently mentioning having the contact information needed. The determined girl demanded the phone from a startled blonde boy, causing him to be flung backward. At this moment, the girl with pink eyes examined her phone, intrigued by the astonishing potential of a new world-class blood-strengthening tonic. Meanwhile, the woman with the bob cut announced her discovery on the phone, seeing it as a significant opportunity for the He family. Blue lightning surged from the young man, crackling with intense energy. At that point, Sheng stood calmly, generating swirling energy on his chest. Soon after, Sheng, feeling determined, vowed to get stronger. The next beat, Sheng placed his hand on his chest, contemplating his power and the potential to create a star within himself. The blue-eyed character pondered the power of techniques, noting the importance of the natural breathing technique in enhancing the stellar body refined technique. Moments later, the determined planner considered the superb effects of the muscle and blood strengthening decoction and planned to produce more within 6 days. After tense silence, Sheng, sitting casually at his desk, questioned the purpose of making a call if he wouldn't answer. With visible resolve, the blue-eyed character gazes intensely at the smartphone, deep in thought. Susu, enthusiastic and persuasive, talked on the phone about collaborating on the tonic and promoting it through Medical Hall. Response, the woman with short hair anxiously confirmed a meeting next week, while the man sat indifferently in the background. An unknown person pulls the blonde-haired boy by his collar as he anxiously wonders about the mention of Ma. As events escalated, the dark-haired woman demanded the nervous blonde man hunt down a master quickly, promising a reward for each day saved. In this moment, the blonde boy, feeling excited, urged the boss to keep his promise. Meanwhile, the blonde-haired young man, looking worried, questioned the boss about a potential mistake. A woman, astonished, questioned how the young student could be the alchemical master everyone talked about. At that point, the blue-skinned figure reacted with fury to the thunderous crash above. And after, the dark-haired person fiercely punched the large creature, catching it by surprise. A mysterious hand with dark energy gripped the cracked stone tightly. Mysterious figure silently observed as a determined man approached beneath the starry night sky. In the next beat, the dark-haired figure declared their intent to challenge the skeletal adversary. Moments later, the dark-clad figure confidently claimed to be a rank 1 martial artist before delivering a powerful kick to the surprised blue-haired figure. After tense silence, Sheng charged fiercely at his red-clad opponent, showcasing immense speed and power. With visible resolve, the young man braced against the monster's swing, realizing it was far stronger than him and deciding he couldn't take its blows directly. In response, the purple monster furiously grappled the determined black-haired teenager midair. As events escalated, Sheng, now aggressive, punched the zombie-like creature with determination. In this moment, the energetic fighter fiercely delivered a powerful kick to the monster's figure. Meanwhile, the dark-haired figure released a powerful burst of energy to the ground. At that point, Sheng acknowledged the fallen figure, noting it died protecting the city from monsters. Then after, Sheng observed the fallen figure, reflecting that these were not mere monsters but the spirits of brave humans who had passed on. The next beat, Sheng analyzed his fallen opponent, realizing it had once been a formidable level 5 martial artist. Months later, Sheng reviewed his week of training, noting rapid increases in vitality and mastery of techniques. A large creature loomed menacingly over the 3 people hiding in the rock cave. After tense silence, Sheng, surrounded by blue aura, prepared to counterattack the lunging, aggressive creatures. With visible resolve, the powerful and determined character unleashed a fierce energy attack, sending shockwaves through the startled opponents. In response, the group of 4 approached the large building with bright yellow characters on top, each carrying a neutral expression. The purple-haired girl calmly greeted a silent and observant dark-haired man at the table. As events escalated, Sheng confidently asked if there was an empty room available to rent the assessment machine. In this moment, the purple-haired woman asked the brown-haired boy why he was back so soon, suggesting examinations might be his concern. Meanwhile, the purple-haired woman chuckled, acknowledging the dark-haired man's frequent visits for assessments this month. At that point, Sheng examined a futuristic device, reflecting on how rapidly his abilities have improved and resolved to assess his vitality first. Then after, Sheng was elated to see his rank had far surpassed that of a rank 2 martial artist. The next beat, the young man reflected on his extraordinary achievements, realizing that advanced techniques and tonics from the future naturally led to remarkable results. Eager to test strength, he declared his combat power was next and prepared to face the test full robot. Moments later, the fierce and aggressive fighter unleashed a powerful energy blast, demonstrating determination and skill. Electricity sparked as the black-haired boy challenged the helmeted figure, revealing a combat power index of 3,137. After tense silence, the observer was astonished by the combat power index reading of 3,137, noting it exceeded the standard requirement by more than double. With visible resolve, Sheng pondered if his skills could elevate his combat power beyond what the index showed. In response, Sheng unleashed a surge of blue energy toward the robot, shouting his determination to try one more time. As events escalated, the focused and intense character channeled energy into a punch, feeling the impact resonate with stellar force. In this moment, the purple-haired woman noticed a dark-haired man entering the room and curiously reacted to his presence. The cheerful woman handed papers to the confident young man, noting he seemed quite pleased with himself. Meanwhile, Sheng nodded with satisfaction, expressing that he was quite pleased. At that point, Sheng waved goodbye, as the purple-haired girl wished him good luck with his exams, encouraging him to do his best. And after, the receptionist, friendly and welcoming, greeted the visitors as they entered the building. The next beat, the purple-haired girl smiled playfully, remarking on the little brat's cool demeanor and good looks when he smiles. Moments later, the red-haired boy greeted with excitement as they walked together through the bright hallway. After tense silence, the ponytail girl teased the purple-haired girl about her googly-eyed expression, while the latter curiously asked about a recent visitor's assessment. With visible resolve, the red-haired boy mocked the value of looks, insisting martial arts prowess mattered more. In response, the red-haired young man stood confidently, smiling broadly, as he listened to the discussion about the disparity between academic and martial arts resources. As events escalated, the red-haired girl struck the red-haired boy, reminding him not to compare himself to ordinary children. In this moment, the red-haired girl firmly scolded the red-haired boy, reminding him not to let success cloud his judgment. Meanwhile, the red-haired boy curiously grabbed the pink-haired girl's arm, asking about the results of a certain person's assessment. At that point, the red-haired boy anxiously shook the pink-haired girl, seeking reassurance about whether his hard work had paid off. Soon after, the pink-haired girl warned the red-haired young man not to get too complacent, while he laughed confidently, acknowledging her caution. The next beat, the surprised girl examined Sheng's results on the tablet, noting he was the only student to perform an assessment today. Moments later, the red-haired boy fell in surprise as the purple-haired woman worriedly questioned if the assessment machine was broken. After tense silence, the purple-haired woman expressed disbelief to the blonde man about the machine's condition. He realized something significant was unfolding. With visible resolve, the pink-haired girl questioned whether the surprising results she read were real. Response: the woman with the phone urgently directed Ling to contact all available staff and gather student information to find him quickly. Focus woman held a glowing tablet while a red-haired boy watched as she mentioned the name Sheng. As events escalated, the pink-haired girl, intensely determined, vowed to find the person she was searching for. Yellow car parked near a tall skyscraper as a bald man walked past with a neutral expression. In this moment, the cheerful driver waved goodbye to the good-natured young man, jokingly promising to introduce his daughter if they meet again. Meanwhile, Sheng mused about the Martial Arts Association as he walked, realizing he should have mentioned his upcoming certification assessment. At that point, Sheng walked toward the reflected building, pondering if he'd seemed crazy for his non-stop chatter. And after, Sheng punched his aggressive opponent, bewildered by how his combat power didn't seem to match his earlier expectations. The next beat, the glowing figure cried out as their power slipped away, while the green hoodie observer discussed the high precision of assessment machines. Moments later, Sheng looked upward, confident as he contemplated the precision of his abilities. The mill around the large, modern lobby as a glowing sign catches the eye. After tense silence, the woman instructed the dark-haired boy to fill out a form and head to room 5203 for his assessment. Still overwhelmed, the dark-haired boy noticed the long queue stretching ahead. With visible resolve, Sheng contemplated his time constraints, feeling worried about wasting precious moments. In response, the boy admired a confident girl passing by and speculated with the black-haired boy about her extraordinary qualities and purpose there. The man with dark hair noted how most in line seemed about 25, realizing the shadowy figure looked even younger than him. A muscular man burst through the door, ordering the gray-haired man not to move. As events escalated, the muscular man demanded passage from the crowd, insisting on being let through. A confident young man with dark hair held an exam document, declaring his intent to embark on martial arts, while a supportive young woman encouraged him. In this moment, the muscular man confidently interrupted the spiky-haired man, prompting a surprised reaction. Meanwhile, the muscular man commanded the crowd to move, pushing a frightened boy aside. As the muscular man walked through the metal detector, an amazed onlooker remarked on his impressive size, comparing him to Toothpick Mind. At that point, the muscular man calmly handed a form to the helmet worker, while others loudly protested his behavior. And after, the examiner confirmed his right to go first, announcing his pursuit of the Rank 3 Martial Artist certification. The next beat, the woman announced the Rank 3 Martial Artist assessment, stunning the crowd with news of this rare event in city. Moments later, the guard instructed to step forward for the Vitality assessment, directing him towards the high-tech area. Our dismissed the Rank 3 Martial Artist assessment, while a young man nervously suggested she was too arrogant and should calm down. After tense silence, the red-haired woman was amazed, exclaiming how she had never seen someone's vitality surpass 100 before. With visible resolve, the staff member nervously announced the combat power assessment as a strong, imposing figure presented his arm. In response, the brown-haired man, focused and aggressive, unleashed a powerful energy attack in the office. As events escalated, the red-haired boy shouted in shock as a sudden gust knocked them over. In this moment, the muscular man reacted in shock as he heard his combat power index was an astonishing 10,831. Muscular and powerful man generated a shockwave, propelling a group backward. An anxious girl with a ponytail described the martial artist's strength, noting his power could easily knock weaker fighters off their feet. Meanwhile, the confident black-haired boy questioned if the brown-haired girl thought his strength matched a Rank 3 martial artist. At that point, the serious worker listened intently as the unseen character asked if they could go next. Soon after, Sheng approached a waiting figure as they remarked that no one remained in line. The next beat, the observant man in a cap announced that Sheng was up next, impressed by the previous participant's calm demeanor. Moments later, Sheng activated the energy sphere as the reassuring man in a cap instructed him to stay calm and keep his heart rate normal. After tense silence, the brown-haired girl, shocked, told the haired boy that the guy couldn't be older than 18. With visible resolve, the observant and intrigued muscular man marveled at the young man's rank and vitality despite his age. In response, Sheng assumed a fighting stance as the mentor advised him to keep calm and test his combat power repeatedly. As events escalated, the startled security guard, looking surprised, assured someone unseen that everything was fine despite the situation. In this moment, Sheng unleashed a powerful energy wave, declaring confidently that once would be enough.